going on, guys? So there's going to be a bit of a delay in content coming very soon. I just wanted to preface this video by saying that this movie dropped the same day as Obi-Wan Kenobi, Stranger Things 4 Volume 1. I still have to catch up on The Flight Attendant Season 2, which I'm not going to be reviewing. I didn't review the first season. And way back in the day, I promised you guys a review of Season 2 of The Witcher, which I still have not watched. So let's just say I'm a little bit backed up in terms of content right now. I also just finished playing Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. I have some videos with my cousin Pat that need editing that I'm way behind on. My Jurassic Park series is still going on. Speaking of Jurassic Park, I'm trying to marathon all the movies again before Dominion comes out next week. And I am also beginning prep on my Bond's 60th anniversary content. So that's taking up a lot of time, and this past weekend I was super busy, and the movie I'm about to talk about I actually attempted to watch 4 times before I got through it because I kept falling asleep. So yes, I will be reviewing Stranger Things 4 Volume 1 at some point. I'm not going to be able to crank every episode out in one day like thousands of people do. I don't know how the hell you guys do it with Netflix. Jesus Christ. If I had seen the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi, I would have reacted to those and then waited for the rest of the season to review the rest of the season, but kind of late to give my thoughts on the first 2 episodes since I haven't seen them yet. I was extremely grateful that I got to see Top Gun Maverick a couple days early because I probably wouldn't have a review of Top Gun Maverick right now. Nevertheless, though, let's talk about a movie that's on Amazon Prime that I think you should all check out because it's really good, and that is Emergency. Emergency focuses on 3 friends who are attempting a legendary tour of all these college parties, and they stop home briefly and find a girl who is unconscious on their floor, and now they have this moral dilemma as to what they have to do. Do they call the police? Do they let her be? Do they bring her to the hospital? A bunch of questions are swirling around in their heads because they know if they call the police, they could be racially profiled. Yeah, they're 3 people of color. And this movie does a really good job of balancing surprising comedy. Like, it starts off as a comedy, but there's subtle hints of social commentary weaved throughout the first half of this film until it really dives into a lot of that in the second half of the film. And I thought it was done tastefully. It never beat you over the head with the message that it's trying to convey. It is definitely an important movie for you to see. It has that message behind it, and it tells you the pitfalls of ongoing racism and the consequences of ongoing racism in not just this country but the world. And unfortunately, things aren't getting any better. And I don't like to get political and talk about stuff like this on my channel, but the truth of the matter is it just isn't. While the first half of the movie has those subtle hints, the comedy aspects are actually pretty funny. And then the comedy aspects in the second half, when it does get more topical in the social commentary that the movie is presenting, it's never talking down to you. It's never making light of the situation. The instances of comedy are used for levity. They bring a lot of balance to the film. This movie's also just not about social commentary in terms of racism. It's also about social commentary in terms of moral dilemmas, what you would do in a situation like this. I mean, I've never been put in a situation like this. I don't know if you ever have been, but I feel like our first instinct is just like, okay, now, like, what the fuck do we do? And the movie answers that. It has to navigate its way through that more since our leads are people of color, and it's trying to build a story that raises a lot more social commentary about that. And again, that's not a detriment to the film. Being put in a situation like this can be scary. It's probably daunting. It's probably panic attack inducing. See, if I was in this situation, things would be racing through my mind. I'm somebody that has a lot of anxiety. So my anxiety would be at an all-time high, and I would be flipping the fuck out. I would have no clue what to do. I mean, obviously, I'd be making sure that the person is okay, but at the same time, the movie is like, well, don't touch her because your fingerprints and DNA are all over the body now, and they can trace it back, and they might think that you're guilty. You know what? Yeah, even as somebody who isn't a person of color, like, that's something I would be afraid of, being like, oh shit, now my DNA is all over the place, like, my fingerprints are there. Like, what happens if I call the cops and they show up and then I get blamed? It's even more of a dilemma if you are a person of color. This movie presents that in a respectful way, I think. The performances all across the board are great. Douglas Watkins, I think his name was. I'm actually going to have to IMDb that real quick. Donald Elise Watkins, really good. RJ Cyler blew me away. He was the energy, he was the nucleus to these group of friends. He was the one that brought the most energy, but the one that brought the most comedy was the one that played Carlos. This trio, you believe that they are friends. They are that tight-knit. I also have to give props to Sabrina Carpenter. She's really good at playing a panic-induced and frantic sister, trying to figure out what happened to her sister. I think where the movie falters slightly is that it feels a bit stretched out too much. While it has those important things to say, sometimes those scenes feel like they are just lingering a little bit too much. And there's also one shot towards the middle of the movie that jarred my attention away from the screen a little bit. And that was when it shot back to another supporting character, and it was a shot that felt like it didn't have to be there. So there are some extended scenes and a couple of glimpses of shots that could have been trimmed down or just left on the cutting room floor. It does feel like it's stretched out and it's almost wearing thin by the end, but it gets its point across. And it did feel satisfactory, and I felt for the characters at the end. Even if there wasn't a lot of character development there, I did understand why they did what they did, why they made some really terrible decisions, why those bad decisions backfired, and they understood why those backfired. And so I understood the characters in that sense. I really do hope you guys check out Emergency. It is on Amazon Prime right now. It premiered earlier this year at Sundance Film Festival. I would watch Emergency even with 3/4 worth of a bucket of popcorn. So guys, did you see Emergency on Amazon Prime? Drop me some feedback if you have in the comment section below. I'll leave my link to my website in the description below as well. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, and I'll see you at the movies somewhere.